Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we will talk about a question that I have recently been asked, and this question is, what was the Pax Romana? Well, people that understand Latin will translate the term Pax Romana into Roman peace or peace of Rome. This would imply that there was peace in Rome. Sadly, this translation is actually misleading because the Pax Romana was over a vast period of time. It started with the start of the rule of Augustus to basically the death of Commodus. They are not exact dates, but you can say around 150 years. And there was not peace over this 150 years in the Roman Empire at all. So why would you really say Roman peace? Well, the Pax Romana moment, it was basically a time where things are quite stable for the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire expanded and it didn't fight like huge enemies. For example, the Carthaginians, like they didn't have a war that really endangered the Roman state. Obviously they fought against the Parthians, which was also a massive war, but it was never like a real danger for the whole Roman Empire. Also, the Roman Empire was not free from civil war in that time either. There were plenty of civil wars. There was a year of many emperors where they fought against each other, with the death of Nero and basically the beginning of the rule of Vespasian. We have, for example, in this time also many uprisings. For example, the Batavian uprising, which was actually quite dangerous for the whole of Gallica and for Germania Inferior and Germania Superior. This was a huge uprising of Batavians, which were basically Germanic people. They got supported though also by a vast majority of Gallic tribes and also southern Germanic tribes. This was in the year 69 AD, basically with the year of the four emperors. Now, why is it called the year of the four emperors? Well, pretty simple, there were four emperors in Rome at that time. First, it basically started with Galba, then it went on to Otto, and then we went to Vitellius, and in the end to Vespasian. And this whole uprising was only possible because of Vitellius, because Vitellius got emperor through the power of the Germanic legion, who supported him in basically a civil war against Otto, who got defeated in the end, and Vitellius got emperor in Rome. And basically the Germanic tribe, the Batavian and also the Gallic tribes said, no, we don't accept that, because basically they have seen that the legions are not there anymore. So basically the Batavian auxiliary legions were there and they controlled the provinces. So they went for an uprising, and this with a good reason, because in the east the legions actually proclaimed Vespasian as their emperor. With this, a new civil war began. Basically, Vitellius in Rome and Vespasian in the east. And the Germanic people basically said, yeah, we fight for Vespasian to claim his throne and get him on the throne in Rome. Therefore, he has to give us some benefits. Basically, what happens, they defeated many soldiers of Vitellius and actually claimed a huge province for themselves. And then Vespasian came in and basically won the civil war. So Vespasian was on the throne, and he sent a letter to the leader of this whole uprising and said, yeah, you helped me now to the throne, thank you. You can now fight for me. But this was not how the Batavians and the Gallians fought. They basically decided, we want to continue the uprising. And so this happens. And they fight on, and in the end, I'm not sure anymore, but I think it was 15 legions were sent to Batavia, to the provinces that they conquered, to actually defeat them. And it was quite tight, but in the end, the Roman legions won, and the uprising has been put down. So you see, even though it was the time of the Pax Romana, there were still uprisings, civil wars, and even normal wars. It was a time of relative stability, but if you look at this doesn't really look like stability, does it? Well, it does, because we have such a long time, and it's just events of 2 years. And if we look further on and look past the Pax Romana, we see the real trouble for the Roman Empire. There were way more uprising, way more wars, and the stability was way lower after the Pax Romana. Actually, eventually the Roman Empire fell, only basically 200 years after the Pax Romana ended. So we see there is like, for us, it doesn't look really like stability and peace, but for Romans of the late Roman Empire, they would probably say, yeah, the time of the Pax Romana was absolutely peaceful time, even though on the first sight it is definitely not peaceful, but it is way more peaceful than the late Roman Empire. So that's kind of what I mean. It is like Roman peace is a little bit a misleading translation, because if you don't look into it, you think, yeah, peace for 150 years. But this was clearly not the case. Still, during the Pax Romana, the empire expanded and basically got wealthier and wealthier. And yeah, I hope you could learn something today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any advices, or if you want me to cover any other topic, just write it down in the comments. I really appreciate that. And yeah, have a great day. Bye for now.